Belle Gunness was a lady fair in Indiana State. She weighed about 300 pounds, and that is quite some weight. That she was stronger than a man, her neighbors all did own. She butchered hogs right easily, and did it all alone. But hogs were just a sideline she indulged in now and then. Her favorite occupation was a butcherin' of men. Anonymous, The Ballad of Belle Gunness. Welcome to another Days of Our Lives. This month we are going to go down some of the darker corners of human existence. And we are going to be exploring serial killer books, which are perfect for the spooky season. And as you can see from our intro, we are going to start with Indiana serial killer Belle Gunness, who lived in LaPorte, Indiana in the early 1900s. And we will be spotlighting Hell's Princess by Harold Schechter. In this book, Harold traces Belle's origins from Norway to her immigration to Chicago, where she may have developed her taste for insurance money. And he follows her to LaPorte, Indiana, where she had a farm. She decided she would start to lure men to her farm with the promise of marriage, farm work, and so on. And once she had them in, suddenly they started to go missing. And since back in the day, communication between families, when you had a lot of people immigrating and moving, their absence wasn't necessarily noticed. Unfortunately for Belle, one of her victims' brothers started poking around. And if you ever thought that interest in true crime and sensationalism is something that our modern society really started propagating, this book will disabuse you of that. There were so many sensational headlines, and you had cities all over Indiana who wanted to claim some tie to Belle Gunness and the horrible things that were happening there. And Warsaw, Indiana actually makes an appearance in this book. She might have owned a farm near here too. She didn't. But it really shows how modern police work has improved so much from the time of Belle's crimes being discovered in 1908, where back in the day they had all these looky-loos who were coming out to the farm in LaPorte to see as bodies were uncovered and stuff like that. So nowadays, they would close down the scene. But if you are interested in Indiana's Lady Bluebeard, definitely check out Hell's Princess. I read this book as an ebook, and I did enjoy it. I had some gripes, but it's been a while ago now, so I can't quite remember some of my frustrations with the book. But overall, I remember it being enjoyable, and I just had to chuckle at all these Indiana cities wanting to have some tie to the sensational crime spree that Belle had done. And there's always the question, did she actually die in that 1908 fire? Or did she move on? So definitely check this one out. Keeping it somewhat close to home, because Belle was in Chicago at one point, and her husband, while she was in Chicago, may have been her first insurance victim. I am going to also spotlight Devil in the White City by Erik Larson, which covers the famous serial killer H.H. Holmes, who had set up a hotel in Chicago and was killing people during the Chicago World Fair. There is actually either a TV show or a movie that is in the works for this book, chronicling H.H. Holmes. And finally, we're going to go with a true crime classic, Jack the Ripper. This book is the Complete Casebook and is by Donald Rumbelow. And this is one of history's most famous unsolved crime sprees. And there's a lot of speculation of who he was, with police detectives at the time pretty much thinking that the man had to be a surgeon of some kind. But there have been so many different possible candidates for Jack the Ripper that have been presented throughout history, including even one of Queen Victoria's sons, even though, like, if you actually look at his whereabouts at the time, it's pretty fanciful. But definitely check out any of these 3 books. We do have some other true crime related novels if you're looking for something a little spooky as we hit mid-October and the end of October. We have you covered. Enjoy.